Hey, what's up, everyone? My name is Josh Lopez. I am the author to It All Started with the Gum Wrapper. As an author, I wanted to leave the end of the book open for research or discussion with friends or family. I had titled the end chapter 4, 5, and 8. I had no idea what the biblical numbers meant or what 4, 5, and 8 meant in the Bible. I was just curious because I heard a pastor preaching about the number 8. And I decided to go and look up 4 and 5. And when I figured out what they meant, my mind was blown. I couldn't believe that the numbers correlated with the story in such a way that it showed the thumbprint of grace, that God was always there. As a nurse working in the ER, so much could happen in a matter of moments. But on this particular day, 3 people came in and I just so happened to be their nurse. 2 patients that tried to kill themselves, and one of them had a complete heart block. The arrangement that the patients were in that day had bed 5 in the middle. There was a drug overdose on the left of her, and on the right, there was a slit wrist. The bed numbers that they were in that day were 4, 5, and 8. I had bed 5 in the middle, and she was crying out to God and also telling me not to let her die because she had 2 young kids to live for, which brought my stress level from kind of right here to way up. I did not want to let her die, and she was obviously having some serious cardiac issues. But there's something interesting that happened. Bed 5 just so happened to bring up my past because her husband recognized me. Given that she brought up my past, I got to share with her the name of Jesus because she asked me what helped me, and I told her the truth. God helped me, and He saved me from a past that maybe should have kept me from the position that I'm in today. She then asked me to pray for her, to ask God to help her. I knew that God was already orchestrating this day because of what was happening in the chaos. His name was brought up. After I got done praying for her, I went to check on bed 4. She started crying and told me that she didn't want to die anymore after hearing bed 5 crying for her life. And she also told me that she overheard me pray for her. And she asked me who could help her with her depression, and I told her I know who the perfect person is, and his name is Jesus. Whenever I went back to check on my patient in bed 5, her family left reassured that she was going to make it to the next hospital. Maybe it was because the name of Jesus was brought up, or the prayer brought the calm to the storm that was happening. When her family left, my patient in bed 5 told me not to leave her side, that she started to feel weird. And when I was watching her, she got flushed and she passed out. And I looked at the cardiac monitor and I seen that her heart rate or her heart rhythm went into a ventricular standstill. The heart's main muscle had stopped. I didn't know what else to do, so I said, Jesus, help me. And I touched her to make sure that she was okay or not. And as soon as I touched her, she had a spontaneous return of her heart rhythm. I immediately started shocking her, which kept her alive. To this day, she calls me her hero, which I'm extremely grateful for. God put me by her side that day to maybe be her hero, but it wasn't me that saved her. It was God that saved her because He pulled me out of my evil ways to make me a servant by her side that day. I went to check on bed 8 and she had a slit wrist. She was covered from her waist down and her feet were just covered in blood. I started to talk to her, and after washing her feet and telling her about the King of Kings, she then wanted to live. So given in the sequence of events that happened, I wanted to explain to you what the numbers meant behind that day. So number 4, I looked it up and it means divinity appointed time, 4 main seasons, 4 main directions, divine appointment. Number 5 in the Old Testament means death. A lot of stuff would happen in 5s and would represent death. When Jesus came, the number 5 represented grace. The 5 loaves of bread that fed the 5,000. There's 5 letters in the name of Jesus. Number 8 means new beginnings or resurrection. God had a divine appointment for me to be there with bed 5 so that she could come back to life, and not only with bed 5, but with all of them. What's even more beautiful about this story is that it all points to Jesus. Number 4, 5, and 8. In the sequence that they're in, 4, 5, and 8, on a number line from left to right, number 8 lands on the 3rd position. Jesus had a divine appointment with death because of his grace, for we are saved by his grace. And on the 1, 2, 3, 3rd day, he rose again from the grave, defeating death, sin, hell, and the grave. Number 8 just so happened to be in the 3rd position, which was the 3rd day. 4, 5, and 8, when you put them together to equal the number 458, 458, it means in Hebrew, God is King. Now that's just so amazing because God is King. Jesus is the King of Kings, and he had a divine appointment to meet us where we are, to defeat sin, death, hell, and the grave. And on the 3rd day, he rose again. We just have to take into consideration all the things that God has for us and all of the amazing plans and the thumbprint of grace. We never realize what God is doing until it's already happened. But I hope that this story encourages you and lets you know that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to his purpose for them. And just know that Jesus is always there with us.